The Bewitched Tree by Ailey B. Torreson. There was something almost magical about the atmosphere in the forest. Rays of sun penetrated the network of leaves and created a beautiful pattern on the trail. A young woman strolled down the trail walking a Dalmatian. She took a deep breath of air scented by fragrant flowers and damp forest ground. She was filled with excitement and anticipation. Mark had told her to put the past behind her. Once she saw the place with her own eyes, she could forget the frightening memories and move on. The dog was excitedly sniffing every bush along the trail. The woman looked at her tail-wagging companion with a smile. In front of them was a large grove of tall, thin trees. This must be the place. She looked around with relief. Mark was right. This wasn't the slightest bit frightening. She was just about to turn around when her gaze fell upon a tree that was different from the others. What in the world? Her heartbeat quickened uncomfortably while she slowly walked closer to see better. Caitlin plus Jessica equals trouble. Kelly, are you coming? The others were ready a long time ago. Dad's voice sounded uncharacteristically impatient. I'll be there in a second. I threw a guilty look toward the stable door. What if Dad asked Caitlin to come in and help me? I couldn't stand the idea of any more sarcasm from my sister. I knew perfectly well that Caitlin thought I was helpless. No matter how much I tried, I was never able to please her anymore. Way back when, Caitlin was nice and pretty patient with her clumsy baby sister. But she seemed to have totally changed her personality recently. That is, since she became best friends with Jessica, one of the popular girls at school. At least that's how it seemed to me. She copied Jessica's style of clothes, hair, even her rude and sarcastic way of talking to people. It might have been downright funny, if not for the fact that most of her sarcasm was directed at me. Jessica has hated me since the very first time she came to the stable with Caitlin, because I refused to let her borrow my pony. Now it seems as if the two have made it their main goal to make life miserable for me. I was trying really hard to tighten the girth. My pony, Happy, is an expert at expanding his belly when I put the saddle on him. When it's just the two of us going somewhere, I don't care that much, because I just wait until he gets tired and stops. But at that moment I was in a hurry. No doubt Caitlin was already sitting on Rodney's back, thinking up a list of malicious remarks that would impress the oh-so-cool Jessica. Now be nice, I told Happy, feeling an all-too-familiar lump in my throat. On days like this, I wondered why I bothered with horseback riding at all. I've never been particularly good at riding, but that hadn't mattered much before, because nobody used to pay any attention to me. It was different now, thanks to Jessica and Caitlin. They always pointed out every little mistake I made, and I made plenty of them. I swallowed a sigh as I felt the oncoming rush of tears. Both my dad and my big sister had a natural talent for horseback riding, so why was it that I had so much trouble with everything? Happy snorted and scraped his foreleg on the floor. He was usually a very gentle and calm pony, but he wanted to be out with the others and was getting impatient. It's your own fault this is taking so long, the way you keep filling your lungs. I tried to say it sternly. Happy just rolled his eyes as if to say, yeah, right. It made me laugh, and suddenly I felt much better. No matter how clumsy I might be, I love horses, and most of all Happy. So to quit riding was absolutely not an option. So what if I had to ask Dad to help me tighten the girth when I got outside? After all, I was only 13, and small for my age, too. That's not my fault, right? I just had to stop letting Caitlin's comments get to me, that's all. I straightened my back patted my beautiful chestnut pony on the neck, and marched out of the stable, holding my head high. My sudden burst of self-confidence lasted about 20 seconds. Caitlin and Jessica saw me coming and immediately put their heads together. Jessica said something and Caitlin started laughing. They looked so much alike they might as well have been twins, I thought. Long blonde hair, way too much makeup, and arrogant, snooty expressions on their faces. I looked around for Dad, but he wasn't there. "How much you want to bet that little scatterbrain has forgotten to tighten the girth again?" I heard Caitlin whisper, just loud enough for everyone to hear. "You wouldn't know she was actually raised at a riding school, but I guess some people just can't help being incompetent." She and Jessica looked meaningfully at each other. Jessica giggled, and I heard laughter from some of the other riders as well. The sound made me flinch. "Well, since you're apparently so terrific, why don't you get off your high horse and give her a hand?" The unexpected outburst made me look up. A girl I'd never seen before was glaring at Caitlin with an angry expression on her face. The girl was sitting on top of Tinto, the oldest horse in the stable. He didn't actually belong to the riding school, but since his owner had stopped riding, Tinto now boarded at the stable. Apparently the lady who owned him didn't have the heart to sell him. He's rarely used for riding lessons anymore, because Dad thinks he should enjoy his retirement. But Tinto is still in great health, and whenever a riding group goes for a trail ride in the woods, the old horse usually gets to go along. I moved my gaze from the new girl and glanced at Caitlin. My sister's face had turned red. She wasn't used to other people criticizing her. "Honestly, who does she think she is?" Jessica rolled her eyes to Caitlin, making that exceedingly irritating giggle again. Caitlin didn't answer. She looked unsure of herself and didn't seem to know what to do. The new girl made the decision for her. She slid down from Tinto's back, and as she handed the reins to Caitlin, she said in a voice that rivaled Caitlin's every bit with regard to sarcasm, "I can tell that helpfulness is not a term you're familiar with, but maybe you could be inconvenienced to hold Tinto's reins while I help Kelly?" The girl turned her back on my sister before Caitlin had a chance to answer. Caitlin's mouth fell open, and she just sat there holding Tinto's reins. I couldn't stop thinking, a little spitefully, that she didn't look that clever then. But I managed to stifle the urge to chuckle. If I laughed at Caitlin, I knew she'd make me sorry for it later. The new girl looked as if she might be a couple of years older than I am, and she was at least 4 inches taller. I watched her as she gave Happy a push in the side, tightened the girth a couple of notches, and checked to make sure it was okay. "Thank you," I said. "That's very nice of you." The girl smiled. "My pleasure. I'm Erica, by the way. We just moved here, so I don't know anybody yet. I hope to make some friends here at the riding school." And enemies, I thought, throwing a quick glance at my sister. Caitlin wasn't going to forget this humiliation soon. I knew that much. Right then her face looked as if she'd bitten into a sour lemon, and she opened her mouth to say something. Probably not anything nice. But she didn't get the chance. Dad, who'd gone back to the house to get his cell phone, came running back, and the group started moving. The dog stopped wagging its tail. It was busy sniffing a small brown bundle lying at the foot of the tree. The woman bent down to see what it was. A dead squirrel? Oof. She pulled on the leash. The dog withdrew reluctantly. Just as it turned around, its tail touched the tree. The dog yelped and crouched. The woman gasped in shock. What was this? What was happening? The dog whimpered in fear and leaned into her. The woman stared at the tree in disbelief. This couldn't be true. She swept a hand across her eyes as if trying to erase the frightening sight, but it wouldn't go away. With a piercing scream of fear, she ran from the tree, pulling the dog with her. She had to get out of the forest, away from the horror that had turned this beautiful day into a sickening nightmare.